Hey friends, it's Gloria and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing the Christmas Traditions book tag created by the lovely Heather from Reading with a Vengeance. All of the prompts have to do with Christmas traditions or things surrounding the holiday, starting off with red, gold, and green colors, a book with any combination of those colors on the cover. I've mentioned this book recently, but that's just because 'tis the season, it's the time, and that is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This specific edition from Puffin and Bloom has gold and green, and it is a beautiful little book and a beautiful family story that just happens to feature many Christmases. Next is carol singing. What is your favorite Christmas carol? Pick a book with a title that includes a word from the song title. My favorite song is Oh Holy Night, because every Christmas church service, the candlelight service where it gets dark and everyone's holding their candles and everyone starts singing Oh Holy Night, and the part where we go fall on your knees, I always get weepy. I get so emotional when I sing that song in a beautiful church building filled with many people, and that moment every single year is what makes it feel like Christmas. So for the book, I picked Night by Elie Wiesel. This is a teeny little nonfiction memoir about Elie Wiesel's experience in a concentration camp and overcoming his Holocaust experience. It is very impactful and a beautiful read. The next prompt is Christmas Trees, Wreaths, and Evergreen Foliage, a book that features nature as a character. I couldn't specifically think of a book that nature is a character, but I'm going to highlight a recent read, one that I read for Nonfiction November, and that is The Hidden Life of Trees. And this was a really cool and excellent book on trees and how they communicate and feel and live. There's so much depth and behind the scenes of how trees work that really blew my mind. It made me look at trees in a very new way and just appreciate nature on a whole new level. So not specifically nature being a character, but the book did make trees feel like humans, really kind of made them feel human-like at least. The next prompt and Christmas tradition is sending cards. What is a favorite epistolary book you read this year or want to read next year? My favorite epistolary novel, or a book that is a collection of letters, I didn't read this year, but I read last year and it's a favorite, is 84 Sharon Cross Road by Helene Hanff. This was just lovely and wholesome, and I don't know, just hit me in the right spot at the right time. I absolutely loved it. This book is a collection of letters from Helene Hanff to a bookstore in London and the different people in that bookstore over the years, and it was just such a wholesome read for me. And then I also wanted to mention an epistolary novel that I want to read hopefully next year is a middle grade called Until Tomorrow, Mr. Marsworth, and this is set in the 1960s around, I think, the Vietnam War. I've just heard Amanda from the Curly Reader absolutely love it, and I think also Chantal reads all day, so it's definitely middle grade I want to get to, maybe in March, for middle grade March. Next up is Mistletoe, a book that features unrequited love. Now, I don't read too many romance books. I actually just started dabbling in the genre this year, but I looked up a list and one that came up is one that I did read this year and I didn't totally love. That is Persuasion by Jane Austen. I think this one is also considered a second chance romance. I don't know if unrequited love and second chance romance always go together, but kind of. I actually realized I do not love second chance romance, or I think unrequited love, because I'm like, just freaking talk to each other. In Persuasion specifically, as a reader, we have to believe that there was this beautiful love many years ago behind the scenes, but we never get to see it on the page. And that's what really bothered me about this book, is I can't buy in for a love that we never get to experience or be a part of as a reader. That's why I don't think I love unrequited love / second chance romance. Next up, we have Santa Claus, a book that features a character who's not really likable, but endearing anyway. This was a very hard prompt for me to come up with a book because I really don't like unlikable characters in books. It's make or break it. I have to care about my character. And so I decided to highlight a book that I want to read, but I think I'm not gonna like because everyone says it is full of very unlikely characters, and that is Wuthering Heights. It's a classic. I want to just try it to say that I've read it because it's one of those that everyone should read at some point in their life, and I think I'm gonna hate it. So that's my answer to this prompt. The next Christmas tradition is Nativity Scenes, a family-based historical fiction. The first one that just popped into my head is The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. And this book definitely highlights a family, 4 sisters, a mother, and a father who's a preacher, and they decide to go on a missionary trip to the Congo in Africa and all of the events that unfolded from there. This was a beautifully written book and really explored some family dynamics. Next up, we have Elf on a Shelf, a book on your shelf that catches your eye all the time, but you never pick it up. And I'm gonna mention The Murmur of Bees by Sofia Segovia. This is a historical fiction book on bees. I actually have a whole stack right here of books with bees in the title or on the cover. It's an ongoing project that I'm doing. I've had 2 episodes already on this theme, and I hope to make one every year. So in my next video about bees, I really want to read this book. It's set in Mexico. It has some magical realism. It sounds really interesting and unique, and I really want to get to it. So fingers crossed for 2023. Next up is Christmas Christmas movies. What is a favorite adaptation or a book that you would like to see adapted? So for me, a perfect adaptation is The Martian. I think the movie is excellent, absolutely perfect, and it matches the book. You could really read and then watch the movie, and they're almost exactly the same. I think both are excellent, entertaining experiences. And then a book that I would love to see adapted into a TV miniseries, which I think it is, if I got my news right, is Lessons in Chemistry. This is historical fiction that is getting huge buzz this year. I really loved reading it, and while I was reading it, it felt like it could be a movie or a TV show. And I believe it's in the works to become one eventually. Next up is Ugly Sweaters, a book that made you laugh out loud. I literally just read this book yesterday and it made me laugh out loud. So that's why I'm going to mention it, and that is Abridged Classics, Brief Summaries of Books You Were Supposed to Read But Probably Didn't by John Atkinson. This is a graphic novel that takes probably 3 minutes to read, but it is full of a page mentioning a classic book title and then a 1 to 2 sentence summary of that book, and it is hilarious. For example, War and Peace. Everyone is sad and it snows. Walden by Henry David Thoreau. Man sits outside for 2 years. Nothing happens. And this just had me cracking up the whole time, so it was fun. Next is Eggnog, a book you love that everyone seems to hate, or vice versa. I could not really think of a specific book that I love with my whole heart and everyone else hates, because I kind of love books that everyone seems to love. But I have a huge list, a very extensive list of books that everyone loves so much, and I just don't get it. Just to name a few, and apologies, I really don't want to offend anyone, but Invisible Life of Addie LaRue? No, didn't like it. Ready Player One? No. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo? Didn't love it. I read a Neil Gaiman book, realized, will never read his stuff again. Peter Pan, one of the most disturbing children's classics. I don't understand why anyone loves that. Illuminae was like a YA horror sci-fi. It was so cringy. Ugh. Horrible. Circe, I was so bored. Remarkably Bright Creatures, a book that everyone loves and I also just don't understand. And also like Frederick Bachman books in general. Everyone loves Frederick Bachman and I just don't. And it's definitely me problem because I think I'm the only one that doesn't like Frederick Bachman. Anyways, goodbye to all of the people that just exited out of this video after I mentioned that list. But yeah, I have a lot of unpopular opinions. All right, and the last one, exchanging gifts. What is a book you read this year and thought this would be perfect for ... I read Lightfall, which is a beautiful children's graphic novel. This lovely fantasy story. It was so fun. It was so cute. The illustrations were amazing. As soon as I finished it, I was like, this would be perfect for my nephews and niece. They love graphic novels. They love reading. And I think I immediately texted my sister and was like, they need to go get this at the library and read it because it's so fun. And then finally, Christmas cookies is tagging some friends to do this tag. Christmas is coming up shortly. I don't know who would do it, but I'm gonna tag Chantel from Chantel Reads All Day, Krista from Books and Jams, and Mitzi from Mitzi Reads and Writes. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in another book video soon. Bye!